Hello YouTube, my name's Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare in this week's episode of Dear Nero, which is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I best go ahead and answer them. The gameplay you're watching, this is actually of the new Infection DLC Exo Zombie map. It's actually a pretty good game. I mean, it's the best one I have so far. It's one I made up to round 18 while playing with random people, and it's going to be the entirety of the gameplay, so you can see a lot more of it. Of course, if you're somebody that's on the PlayStation, somebody that's on the PC, it's kind of nice to see footage of the actual map itself rather than like short little bits. You can see the full-length game from start to finish until I inevitably die, and all the cool stuff I get in that process of that. Like, I end up getting 2 different power weapons. Lots of cool stuff ends up happening. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Before we get into the questions, before we get into this week's episode of Dear Nero, so yesterday was April Fool's Day, and that's when I changed my intro, but I think it kind of went over a lot of people's heads. I don't think a lot of people understood, like, this intro is stupid, why would you have this intro on? Which I guess in some respects I kind of fooled them by making them think it was an actual thing. But yeah, in fact, that used to actually be my intro back during, like, Modern Warfare 3, which was like 3 years ago or so, so it was a long time ago. I still had that intro there. And then the outro, I just took a screenshot of the intro itself and then basically put my overlay on it, and like, oh, here's my recent video, subscribe for more, and it was just horrible looking. But I guess it wasn't very clever, but I did say a while back that I was going to change my intro on April Fool's Day, and some people got it and some people didn't get it, and I guess that's the fun of it, I suppose. I don't know, I was never really much of a prankster or anything like that, but of course, whenever a new Call of Duty DLC comes out, it usually comes out on a Tuesday, right? So usually on that Tuesday, we do walkthroughs and stuff like that. On the next day, we're probably doing a lot more videos involving that DLC. So usually Dear Nero gets pushed back to Thursday, right? Whenever these new DLCs come out, it says it's something that always ends up happening because that Tuesday and that Wednesday are usually just full of DLC videos, which was the same case here for the Ascendance DLC. So Dear Nero was kind of weird going up here on a Thursday, but hopefully it was well worth the wait. Hopefully we can hop into these questions here and you guys enjoy them as you hopefully do every week. So let's hop into the first question here. He's gonna write, Dear Nero, can you give Advanced Warfare an interim report? Max from Maryland. So basically what Max is asking for is a halfway through report for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. What are my thoughts on Advanced Warfare? Kind of like we do like a, kind of like a report, like how we're feeling about the game at the very beginning of the game coming out. Then kind of like in the middle, kind of do it at the end. Let's talk about how Advanced Warfare is doing, because now we are entering the 6th month of the game itself being out. It hasn't been out for half a year yet, but it's getting close. It's been out for several months now. Where are we feeling about Advanced Warfare? How's it doing? I feel so Advanced Warfare is one of the better Call of Duties to be released. I don't think it's a bad game by any means, by any respects, and that's actually pretty cool because they had all of those different changes they made with the movement system, and just the sheer mechanics and the design of the game is completely altered compared to any other Call of Duty just by the very nature that we have exosuits, right? They were going to live and they were going to die by the exosuit, in my opinion, and I think they're thriving as a result of them because they're actually fun, they're actually useful, and truth be told, whenever I go to a different game, I find myself trying to do like the exo dash and whatnot. Like I get on Borderlands, I'm trying to do an exo dash, or I get on an older Call of Duty game, I'm sitting there trying to do the exo dash, and even when I'm trying to play stuff like Battlefield, it's like, okay, this is kind of outrageous. I have like muscle memory left from these exosuits whenever I play another game. And yeah, I thought the exosuits were good, and I still think they're good. I think the game itself is actually thriving as a result of that. I feel as though the weapon balance in Advanced Warfare is the big thing holding it back. The weapon balance is pretty bad. It's had bad weapon balance since the game has come out. Let's be honest here. They keep changing around the weapons, and the weapon balance has never actually gotten any better. As I said time and time again, the Ball 27 and the ASM-1 are far too powerful and still need to be nerfed. Now, a lot of people are saying, Nero, they're not too powerful, they're just overused. Guys, people overuse the most overpowered guns, and if you don't believe that they're overpowered, you feel as though like they're actually in a good state of balance, go play Search and Destroy. Right, go play Search and Destroy and watch as you just melt. You'll be on target with these people, and it doesn't matter. They will completely just outgun you based upon the fact that they just have a better gun than you. Right, that's how it goes right now. Those are the 2 most powerful weapons. That's the reason why everyone's using those weapons. That's the reason during Call of Duty Championships, they want to watch COD Champs. Was there a single gun that anybody saw that was not a ball or an ASM-1 there? It's for a reason, guys. They're the best weapons in the game. They are far too powerful, and if you want any more weapon variety in the game, you're going to have to nerf those down and allow other guns to try and pop up. Although, I gotta say, every time a new DLC comes out, like when the first DLC came out, the Havoc DLC, it was pretty nice because a lot of people were running around with the AE4, and that was a nice change of pace. People were trying out different stuff, and of course, with this new DLC, a lot more people are running around with the OHM, which is also very nice because it's just a nice change of pace. Like, whether or not the OHM is OP, that's like some people are claiming, it's just nice to see other guns. It's nice to die to other things. It's nice to look at the kill feed and see different guns for me. That's the thing for me. And the weapon balance itself, just as a YouTuber and as somebody who just for no reason whatsoever has like a strong moral opposition to using the overpowered things within the games, it's hindering me when I'm playing Advanced Warfare. It really is. I don't enjoy playing as much as I would say Black Ops 2, because I didn't really enjoy Call of Duty Ghosts at all, but I don't enjoy Advanced Warfare as much as I did like Black Ops 2, because whenever I get on, it's like, well, I'm sitting here trying to use an MP11, and I'm getting melted by the SM1. You know, I'm sitting here trying to use the EM1. I'm sitting here getting melted by the Ball 27. And it's just frustrating. It's frustrating that everyone else in the lobby is using this super powerful gun, and I'm sitting here using guns that are just very inherently weaker. And it's kind of difficult to get gameplay. It's kind of difficult to enjoy yourself when you're constantly dying, and you know the reason why they're outgunning you is because they have that better gun than you. You get on target first, all the things like that. It's simply because they're using a better gun. So as a result, I'm not playing as much of Advanced Warfare as I probably would like to, but still, overall, the game itself is pretty good. It's just the weapon balance itself. It's something that I think somebody as a YouTuber like me that's been paying attention to Call of Duty and YouTube for years now, like literally going on a decade, I feel as though it's something that I pay too much attention to, probably, and that's probably a fault of my own. But I feel as though most other people don't pay that much attention to it. They just hop on, they use whatever gun they feel like using, and they don't really care how many kills they get, how many deaths they get, and they just go out there and have fun. And for those people, it's great. It's just for me personally as a YouTuber, it's like, I hate overpowered guns. I do, and those two guns are ridiculously broken. But overall, the report, pretty good. The DLC's been great. The maps themselves are pretty good. I like exosuits. Everything about the game is pretty awesome in Advanced Warfare. Just the weapon balance, like I said. So overall, Advanced Warfare so far is a pretty freaking great game. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what is your favorite legendary Pokemon? Mine is Primal Kyogre. Thanks for answering, Nico from Vancouver. So this is an old man answer. This is an old man answer here. What is a Primal Kyogre? What is that? What is that a thing? A Primal Kyogre? See, I know what Kyogre is, but I don't know what a Primal Kyogre is. Is that like the Pokemon like Omega Ruby version? I'm Googling this. If you guys don't think I'm not Googling this right here in the middle of the video, you're wrong. So, Primal Kyogre. What in the world is that thing? It looks like Kyogre, but apparently just a little bit different. My favorite legendary, and it sounds just so old school, and I understand that. It sounds so old school, but it's Articuno. I think Articuno is probably my favorite. It's one of the original legendary birds from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and I guess Fire Red and Leaf Green if you played those. And yeah, he was just always my favorite. Zapdos was always the one people kind of lean themselves a bit more towards, but for whatever reason, I like ice and like winter, cold stuff. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I like Articuno. I think Articuno was the coolest. I think Moltres. Is anyone else kind of disappointed by Moltres? Like, even to this day, I'm like, Moltres just doesn't look that cool. Like, his moves are okay, I suppose, but like, something about Moltres himself is like, he just isn't as cool as Articuno or Zapdos. I think if you always had to ask people like, who's your favorite legendary bird, I think they would always say it's going to be either Zapdos or Articuno. Very rarely, I think, do people say Moltres. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments here, and I'll be sure to be doing a lot of Googling later, because I probably won't know who half these things are, but let me know in the comments who is your favorite legendary Pokemon. I'd be interested to read about that. How many old school fans are there that like old school Pokemon, or how many people started off a bit newer, or how many people just like the newer Pokemon in general? I'll be interested to see about that. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, did you play any other sports in high school besides football? Fisher from Washington. So Fisher, I did not play any other sports in high school besides football. I played football, which this is American football, keep in mind, and I was a wide receiver / safety. That's what I did. I scored a couple touchdowns, got some interceptions. It was fun. But I did play a bunch of other sports growing up. Some people may already know about this, but it's always fun to elaborate stuff over and over. I played soccer a lot. I played goalie and defenseman. I really don't know the names of the positions. This was like really super back youth soccer, so I didn't pay too much attention to that. I played baseball. I primarily played outfield with the occasional shortstop. I played basketball, where I was center and power forward because I was tall for my age at the time. I'm only 6'3" now, which by most people's standards is not super tall. Like, it's tall, but it's not super tall. But, you know, growing up, I was always much taller than anybody else, always into playing center and things like that. So there's soccer, baseball, basketball. I ran track. I did high jumping in like the 100-meter sprint in the 4x1. I did that. I was never very good. I think my best in the high jump was only like 5'2" or something along those lines, but it was decent, I guess. I never actually like won many things. I would get like third place and stuff like that when we go to track meets and stuff. And I don't remember my times for the 4x1, but I think that covers all the sports I did growing up and in high school. And I guess technically I did do another sport in high school because it was track. I'm an idiot, man. I'm an idiot. But regardless, yeah, that's that's my sports history, I guess. The sports ball stuff. I used to do some of that. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, recently in the UK, there has been a new law implemented so that if you are buying or letting your child play 18+ titles, which is the UK rating same as mature, you can get arrested. Do you think this is wrong? And the person that wrote this goes by the name of Get Wrecked Lad online. So you can definitely tell her from the UK if you have lad in there. So I'd actually look this up, and I believe I have an article here. Now, let me find this article. Here it is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll put the article, the link to this is a Kotaku article, which Kotaku, but still, it's down there in the video description if you guys want to check it out. So apparently, there's a group of people called the Name-Which Education Partnership. Now, it's a group comprised of 15 primary schools and 1 secondary academy that have released a letter penned by head teachers warning parents against allowing underage access to video games like Call of Duty, Gears of War, and Grand Theft Auto. Part of the letter read, if your child is allowed to have inappropriate access to any game or associated product that is designed 18+, we are advised to contact police and children's social care as it is deemed neglectful. So basically, this school partnership education people, if they hear your kids in school talking about Call of Duty, talking about GTA, talking about Gears of War, or any other video game out there that is designed to be like a mature game, like 18+, they're gonna freaking contact like social services and say you're like a neglectful parent, apparently, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. That is definitely a little bit outrageous if you ask me, because I've used this example so many times, guys, so many times, but apparently just the real world does not understand it because the real world is ran by old soccer moms. But anything that you watch on television is just as bad, if not worse, than what you can see in a video game. Anything that you're going to see in Call of Duty is nothing compared to an episode of Criminal Minds I watched the other day. Man, that was some psycho stuff that was happening in Criminal Minds. They cut off the girl's ear. Man, they cut off her ear. I watched this episode, man. I don't even watch TV that much, but they cut off the girl's ear, and then they presented it to the husband. It's like, that is okay. So that's acceptable. That's okay to watch. Just put that right there on nighttime TV there. But you're not allowed to play Call of Duty where you're running around shooting imaginary people. Okay. I'm just trying to see where we are. Just trying to see where we are as a society. What do I think about this? I think it's terrible. Is it neglect? I don't think that you are a neglectful parent if you allow your child to play that stuff. Now, of course, there's every person and every family can be a bit different. Some families will allow their child to play Call of Duty and they're like 8 years old. Where do I stand on that? I really don't know. I really don't know, because growing up, when I was like 8 years old, I was playing the South Park games. Like I was playing there's South Park Rally, which is a really fun game. It's basically a Mario Kart ripoff, but with South Park characters. Really fun, but lots of swearing, and that was half the fun because I was like, 10 or younger, and that's the whole funny part. Like, he says swear, that's funny. I was also playing the other South Park game that they had where basically threw snow. It was like a first-person shooter, but with snowballs. Definitely a weird game. Streets of Rage 2, back on the Sega Genesis. Running around, you're punching people and killing people and stuff. Is that considered violence? You know, it's really kind of hard to describe. So I guess each person, each family, and each group is different than the next. And I guess you have to kind of determine whether or not your particular family members are old enough to be able to understand what's happening when they're playing their video games, and understand the difference between real and fake. Right, I guess that goes on like a person-by-person basis, but right here, there's apparently a group called the Name-Which Education Partnership, which is apparently, this is only in Cheshire. I don't even know where or what that is, but apparently it's only in that area. That's pretty bad. I'll be interested to see how this would actually go down. If they do actually hear somebody in school talking about Call of Duty, you know, are they actually going to call children's social care because it's going to be neglectful? Are they actually going to call the police? Are the police going to be going there? Because at the exact same time, can you call the police, right? Can the police be called if your kid's looking at porn? Is that something that can happen? Like if you get your dad's Playboys, is that something that you can get in trouble for? Because that is the exact same thing. It's designed for 18+. right? It's designed to be used, and it cannot be sold to anyone that's under 18. So you have to be 18 plus to, one, buy as well as, I guess, use like pornographic material. Could the same thing happen if someone's kid is watching porn? Is that the same thing as, you know, video games, because they're both for 18 plus? Like, could you call the police because you heard that someone's child has a Playboy magazine stuffed underneath their bed? Is that the exact same thing? Could you go to jail for that as a parent? Are you a neglectful parent if you allow your child to watch porn? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is just opening up a whole... I don't know, man. I just make videos on YouTube. I don't know how to answer any of this, but I don't think... I definitely don't think you're a neglectful parent if you allow your kids to play games that are designed for 18 plus. I just think that's silly. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, recently I've been watching a lot of your old montages, and this here is in parentheses. They're great, by the way. Thank you. I think my old montages are pretty okay myself as well. But he also goes on to say, but I have a question. If you could go back and change anything in one of your old montages, what would it be? Keep up the great work. Tyler from South Dakota. So Tyler, I would say, first and foremost, that going back, I would change probably a lot about a lot of my montages, and I think the same thing can be said for most of my videos. And I think the same thing can be said for most other YouTubers and their videos, because as you get, it sounds weird, but as you get older and as you get more experience with YouTube and putting together videos and different creative ideas, you look back at some of your previous work and you're like, wow, I could make that so much better today with all the new knowledge I have. The same way if you were in school, right? Let's say, for example, you're 18 years old or something. You know, just all intents and purposes, you're 18 years old, and you look back at an essay that you wrote at 14 years old, or 15 years old, something like that, right? You look back at that essay and you're like, man, I could write a way better essay than what I wrote here. And then the same thing kind of happens for YouTubers. Like, and even not even just like from the gameplay perspective, like the gameplay that you see in some of my montages, like, it's really hard to replicate that. It's some of the best stuff I've ever done. Even now, like, I think I'm actually getting worse as a Call of Duty player. Like, I think the stuff I was to be able to do back in the day was crazy compared to what I can do now. But I look back and it's like, I wish I could re-edit that just to fix that one particular part. For example, just to kind of like answer your question, you asked for like one particular instance. If you go to my Best of Nero montage, right? The Best of Nero montage, which is one of my favorite videos I've put out. It is what I consider to be like most of my best clips ever that I've gotten in Call of Duty, all thrown together in the montage. It was kind of like a celebration for hitting 100,000 subscriber video. There's a part in that video, which is sad to say, I forgot to hit disable resample. And there is a lot of ghosting. It's the final clip at the end of the first song, and it's basically it's a really cool clip too. I'm playing Domination, I believe it is, on Crash and Call of Duty 4, and I go up the stairs with an AK-47. I take out 2 people. I quickly pick up the pistol off the ground, end up getting a kill with that. Then I pick up my AK again. I walk into a building. I start spraying down somebody. I run out of ammo. I end up knifing a guy, picking up his sniper really quickly, and then no-scoping the other guy in the room all before he has time to kill me. It was a really cool clip, and I suggest checking it out, I suppose, but I forgot to disable resample on that clip, so there's a lot of ghosting on it. It's like, no, as I go through it, like, I just like, how did I miss that? When I add together my montages, keep in mind, I watched that montage like freaking 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. Like, it just, when you put together a montage, every time I add a new part to it, I watch it from the beginning just to see how it fits into the flow of everything and stuff, and it's like, how did I possibly miss that? I don't know, but it's already uploaded. It's already out there. It's been out there, and I can't just, you know, delete it, which stinks, and like fix it and re-upload it, because how funny would it be if I end up putting up Best of Nero Remastered, where all I do is disable resample on that one clip, and that's literally the only change I make. I think that'd be funny, but yeah, that's the one change I would make, I guess, if I had to pick among all the other ones. But overall, I would like to change all of my videos, apparently, if I go back and check them out. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I've noticed that a lot of YouTubers are allowed to record early DLC footage. My question to you is, do you think that by the time Black Ops 3 or / World at War 2's first DLC is out, you will get the opportunity to record early footage? It is also no secret that you're not the biggest fan of traveling, but if you were offered the opportunity to get those clips, would you take it? Thanks for the possible answer, Roman from Michigan. So Roman, if I were to get the opportunity to fly out to wherever event and record early DLC footage, I wouldn't do it. I just don't feel as though it'd be worth it. That would involve going to an event, which I really don't have any interest in. There's a question in my last video, or one of my most recent videos, I remember replying to it specifically, asking Nero, why don't you ever go to these events? Why don't you go to PAX? Why don't you go to COD Champs? Why don't you go to any of these events that are happening all throughout the year? And truth be told, just because I don't have any interest in going. I'm not much of a travel person. I live in Pennsylvania, so like PAX East is in Boston, so that's really not that far away. I think I googled it. I think it's like maybe an 8-hour drive. I hate flying, keep in mind. There's no way in the world I'd fly. I had a flight basically going down to Tampa, and part of that, so we had to drive to Pittsburgh Airport, then we started at Pittsburgh Airport, then we flew to the Cincinnati Airport, which keep in mind is actually in Kentucky, go figure that, and then we flew from there to the Atlanta Airport, and then from there we went to the Tampa Airport. So there's a bunch of stops along the way, and I just hated flying. Like, I don't like being that high up in the air, and it just, they're death machines. I hate them. And, it's like, oh, statistically, you're more likely to die in a car crash. It's like, because that's the only reason that's true is because there's a lot more cars than there are airplanes. Like, I just hate it. I hate the idea of being in an airplane. You're completely way up in the air. Not like heights. It's I will not fly. But yeah, it's like 8 hours or something to PAX East, and it's like I just don't want to go. There's no one there I really want to see, which sounds kind of rude, but like, I don't want to go and meet and like drive 8 hours to go hang out with people that I've never actually hung out with before, like Wildcat or stuff like that. Like, it would be nice to meet Wildcat, but at the same time, I'm not going to go to Boston to do so. It'd just be weird. As well as like a fan meetup thing, that would be nice. Once again, am I going to drive 8 hours to a place I have no interest in going just to do a fan meetup? I don't really think that'd be too great from my perspective anyway. So I just really have no inclination whatsoever to ever go to these events. And then some of these events, they allow you early access to DLC footage. And it's like, meh. I don't think it'd be that great, to be perfectly honest, because just like normal DLC videos, you're still going to be competing with other people. You look at like the kings of Call of Duty here on YouTube, and they're going to be at those events. They're going to be getting DLC footage, the same DLC footage that you're going to be getting, and they're going to be posting it early just like you. So it's really not going to get you like that many extra views, all things considered, as compared to just waiting 1 or 2 days and then putting it out after the DLC itself actually comes out. So I don't ever see myself doing that. And here's like a hypothetical question as well. The idea of if you had the ability to like record early footage, like if I had to fly to an event to record early footage of Black Ops 3, the next Treyarch game, would I do that? I still wouldn't do that because I get the game early every single year. Like, there's literally no reason for me ever to go to an event besides maybe doing like a meetup, or if I were to like get a big group of friends together and we were all go together or something like that, then maybe it'd be fun. But just traveling by myself to like Boston or Los Angeles or something, that just sounds miserable, to be honest. I know that sounds sad. Like, how many people's dream job would it be to get flown out to like Boston or Los Angeles? I wouldn't even take it. Like, if Machinima or someone else was like, hey, we'll fly you out for free and pay for your hotel, I'd be like, nah, just give it to someone else. I don't want to, because I really don't like traveling. Next and final questions are actually going to be a series of questions. These are actually going to be a series of would you rather questions, and they're all sent in by a guy that goes by the name of Zach from North Carolina. These are some good questions. I would like to see your guys' responses to them in the comment section below. So very first one, would you rather meet your future self or meet your future kids? Now that's an interesting one, but I think I'd rather meet my future self, because if I have anything to say about it, there won't be any future kids. I would like to see my future self, see how I'm doing, see how I'm shaping up. Question number 2 is, would you rather have the ability to fly or the ability to breathe underwater? And I think I would rather have the ability to fly, because right now, I have that fear, I suppose, of flying and of heights, right? I don't think I would have that fear if I actually had the ability to fly, because if you have the ability to fly, basically that gets rid of your ability to fall, right? Think about that. You can't fall off of anything if you have the ability to fly. You can basically just hover there if you wanted to. I think that would be the coolest part. Let's say, for example, I don't think I would do it too much, because then whenever there's like a hypothetical of like, what superpower would you like to have? There's always the hypothetical of like, well, if you do it too much, then the government's going to find out, they're going to do experiments on you and stuff. So I don't know, if I could fly, I would, but I would just do it sparingly where people wouldn't notice. I definitely think I would pick the fly one. Question number 3 is, would you rather have more money or more time? And I think I would go with more time, because money is, I think a lot of people like to try to equate money to happiness, and don't get me wrong, money can buy happiness to an extent, but where I'm at in my life right now, I feel as though I have happiness, and I would just like to have more time with this happiness, right? Does that make sense? I'm not lacking. I'm not financially struggling. You know, I'm not wanting a lot of things in this world right now. So if I were to have tons of money, of course it would change my life, but I don't think it would make it super better when right now my biggest interests are just playing video games and making YouTube videos. So I don't think, I don't know, man. I don't know how much, like, a ton more money right now could actually make me happier. I'd rather have more time and make more money with that time and enjoy my time at the same time, right? Does that make sense? Question number 4, would you rather go back in time 10 years or go forward in time 10 years? I think the obvious ones go back in time 10 years. If I were to go back in time in 10 years, one, you could change around a couple things. You know, a lot of people's obvious ones is like, oh, I can make bets on the Super Bowl, and I know who's going to win the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But I don't even look at it like that. I look at it more or less, I could get into YouTube back when YouTube first started, and I could be one of the super channels by now. I think that'd be cool. Rather than getting the late start I did, what if I was one of those people that started posting videos back in like 2005 or something like that, right? Now it'd be crazy, especially now that I know like all I know about the Call of Duty community and the YouTube community and how things are going, how things changed over the years. I think going into it with all of that knowledge back then would be pretty crazy. I think that'd be nuts. But yeah, here's the thing people got to keep in mind. Here's the thing people got to keep in mind about the hypotheticals of going back in time 10 years or going in the future 10 years. People die, right? How many loved ones do you know have died in the last 10 years, right? You're going to have to relive all of that if you go back in time 10 years. And if you go in the future 10 years, you could just suddenly be in the future 10 years and then go, where are my grandparents? Oh, apparently I missed that because I'm in the future now 10 years, and you're just confused and you don't know what's going on. I don't think anybody would, who would want to go in the future 10 years? I don't think I'd like that at all. That'd be weird. Question number 5, would you rather be a master of every musical instrument or a master of every language in the world? I think I would rather be a master of every language in the world, which I think that's going to be the unpopular vote on this one. I think a lot of people would like to be able to play every instrument, but just from a YouTuber perspective, I think it'd be cool if I could speak literally every language, as well, just like a social thing, just talking to people, being able to speak any language in the world would be pretty freaking awesome. And of course, I've already said this on my Let's Play channel. I don't know if I've ever actually said it here on NerosCinema, but I really want to learn German, because how many of you have ever actually seen, I'm sure you've seen it, there's so many parodies of it. There's a movie called The Downfall where basically Hitler learns that the war is over and he just starts yelling at people and screaming in German, and there's been a bunch of parodies like Hitler learns that advanced warfare has exosuits, or Hitler learns that, I don't know, Zayn left One Direction or whatever. You know, they do these parodies. I'm sure you guys have seen these videos, and if not, you've probably been living under a YouTube rock. But just watching that video, it's funny listening to him yell in German. German's like such like an angry language to me that I think it'd be funny if I knew how to speak German, doing like a Let's Play or just playing the game stuff, just start yelling out stuff in German. It'd be freaking funny to me. I think that'd make for really entertaining videos. But so for me, I think it would be an awesome quality of life improvement if I were able to speak every language in the world. Question number 6 is actually the final question of the Would You Rathers. Would you rather continue on with your life or restart your life? And that's a tough one. I think I'd rather continue on with my life, because restarting your life, once again, you get to basically redo all the decisions that you made all throughout your life, which I'm sure a lot of us have ones that we would like to change. But at the exact same time, there's like there's that trickle effect. You know, you change one thing, how is that going to change the rest of the things and the rest of the things? You know, you never really know what would happen if you restarted your life. And I'm happy with the life I have right now, so I think I'd rather just continue on with the life I have. And plus, like I said earlier on, you know, if you want to restart your life, you know, you remember all those family members that you loved, or just loved ones in general that ended up dying and stuff like that, like you're gonna have to relive that. Maybe your parents got a nasty divorce, you're probably gonna have to relive that, unless somehow you can change that. Like there's stuff in your life I'm sure you don't want to relive as much as there's stuff that you do want to relive, and I think it's better just to put it all behind you and just kind of move forward with your life, right? Does that make any sense? And that is this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel via deserves. I thought we had a pretty good group of questions right there. I thought it was all pretty good stuff overall. Hopefully you guys all found this video entertaining, because I definitely am starting to feel a little bit winded talking this long and this consistently. I'm starting to get winded, a little bit lightheaded, a little bit tired, throat's starting to hurt a little bit. I think I might have a cold coming. I hope I don't. I made it through the whole winter without ever actually getting sick, which is pretty nice. But once again, though, hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. If you guys would like to submit your questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. All you need to do that is make sure you're on a computer, because it doesn't work on mobile, keep in mind. Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/NerosCinema. Go to the About tab, and from there you'll find a send message button. If you can, try and make it so the very beginning of your question has Dear Nero at the beginning of it. That way when I'm scrolling through all my messages, I can easily find the ones that were specific specifically sent for that week's episode of Dear Nero. So once again, hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.